Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Swinging at Shins, a Premier League podcast. I'm Rhett, and I'm joined, as always, by Aaron. Aaron, how you doing?
Not drunk. I should have been.
Not that good. Not that good.
I'm okay.
No, it's fine.
It's okay.
All right. Last week's podcast, we said that this might be a boring match week, and were we wrong?
A
lot has happened.
Hit the mark on that.
Well, yeah. I mean, we thought we were right on Friday. Chelsea and Fulham, 0-0, scoreless draw. It just,
I have the script right up already.
And you're getting scoreless draws at Fulham.
Yeah. Right.
But then Saturday starts. League leaders Arsenal lose to the bottom of the table at the time, Everton, 1-0. Arsenal got diced. There's no other way about it. You can hear, I'm sure we're going to get into it in this podcast, but you can hear my thoughts in depth on the way West Stand. Links in the description. Harry Kane sets the all-time goal-scoring record for Spurs as City failed to gain ground on Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
Happened a lot this week, stuff like that. United won a fiery match against Palace as Casemiro sees red. Probably one of three guys that should have seen red just in that scrum.
Definitely him, though.
Definitely him. I would struggle to say his name. Ayew also at one point had his hands around a Manchester United player's throat.
Cool.
So, I mean, come on, let's be fair now. Just because Casemiro held a little bit longer, he still did it. Mm-hmm. And then whoever started it with that egregious football foul, like American football foul, all should have been red. Liverpool we called it a couple weeks ago. Liverpool are in full crisis mode now. 3-0 loss to Wolves. They look dire. They look horrible. Leeds lose to Forest, drops them to 17th, ahead of Everton only on goal difference.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesse Marsch is fired.
Sad news. Sorry.
Yeah. I got to tell you, though, they started off a little bit better. So we were like, he's going to be fine. He's doing enough. He's ahead of the game. You're even with Everton halfway through the season. That's not good enough. Not good enough. I love him. I want to see him do well. I love the idea of having an American coach, manager in the Premier League, but no. First, though, the big news, the big news. Manchester City has been hit with accusations from the Premier League itself over financial rules, and this is breaking as a culmination of a 4-year investigation. I'm going to get into this. I'm going to say all the facts as we understand them right now, and then I'm going to want to get your reaction on it.
Mm-hmm.
Amitai Winehouse of The Athletic reports the reigning champions have been referred to an independent commission over alleged breaches of a series of financial rules between the 2009 and 10 and 2017 and 18 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
City are accused by the Premier League of not providing accurate financial information, in particular with respect to its revenue, including sponsorship revenue, its related parties, and its operating costs. They are accused of not disclosing total salary paid for some of the Mancini years, and breaking rules on profit and sustainability from 2015 to 2018. Also, financial fair play rules from UEFA from 2013 through the 2014-15 season and 2017-18, which we already know UEFA tried to get them on.
Mm-hmm.
City came back with a statement. I don't expect them to say anything else, but their statement says that Manchester City FC is surprised by the issuing of these alleged breaches of the Premier League rules, particularly given the extensive engagement and vast amount of detailed materials that the EPL has been provided with. The club welcomes the review of this matter by an independent commission to impartially consider the comprehensive body of irrefutable evidence that exists to support its position. The total accusations number over 100. I watched the TIFO video on this that dropped earlier today. We're recording this on a Monday for a change instead of a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I forget the name of the guy, but the guy that had on said it's about 105.
That's not good.
Some of the charges relate to withholding information while the investigation was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So that already, not that I really thought that Manchester City's statement had a ton of truth to it, but that already makes me think probably not. You're already being blamed that you weren't playing a part.
Yeah.
What are your reactions? What are your thoughts?
So initially, I read this and I was like, well, duh. Like, how can they spent, what was it, 300 million in 2 seasons just on their defensive line? How else were they gonna like obviously their revenue could off set up the balances, but they weren't selling players, or they weren't selling the players for the same amount of money they were bringing them in for. So it's like,
Yeah.
hello, yeah, of course they're gonna break financial fair play rules. It's the skeeviness of it all, the secret contracts, the way to hide money and stuff like that. That's messed up.
So when he's talking about secret contracts, he's talking about, and particularly the Mancini ones, and this has been like an open secret for a while. Mancini had a wage from Manchester City. And at the same time, Mancini was paid for coaching or consulting or something, like double what his Manchester City wage was for a football academy or something coming out of the same country as the owner of Man City, which is getting paid by any other way.
Yeah. No, you're on the
Which is
book.
exactly what it looked like.
Yeah.
I mean, so what this reminds me of is everyone tries to say, it's fair, it's fair, it's fair, it's even, it's fair. When Arsenal chose to build the Emirates, they were coming off pretty much an invincible season. I mean, not pretty much. They were coming off the invincible seasons. They were the only team that was really bringing it to Manchester United in the Premier League. And building of the stadium put our finances so upside down for so long that we've only now recovered.
Yep.
And that was in 2005, 2006.
You just don't get
and
money.
The small team from Manchester, the year that they get bought by a sheik, suddenly has $200 million in revenue that they get to fairly spend. No.
You're right.
And that's just transfer fees. That's the other thing. That is just transfer fees. That's not salaries to players. That's not salaries to coaches, which is why they had the Mancini thing. That's just the transfer fees that we see because they are out in the open.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that this has ever been above board. And we've all known it. UEFA tried to go after them a couple years ago, banned them from European competition for a couple years. And then the Court of Appeals decided, and I believe it came down to not every I was dotted and every T was crossed, that technically they can't enforce it.
Oh, Jesus. And that's why they got only the 10 million and not the 2 years and 50.
Yep. It was a lot more. I mean, 50 also, it's a country. You have a country backing this team. One thing, they will still be able to appeal. A lot of people think they're not going to be able to appeal. They're not going to be able to appeal to the same court. They will be able to appeal. It'll just be a court in England. This is, as far as this is concerned, this is a British matter.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not even, it's an English matter, but the FA holds more than just England. So it's a British matter. At least I think I know. I don't know how many countries are in your country, and I don't know when the countries are part of your country and not part of your country. So, and also the Premier League doesn't have the same time limits that UEFA has, so they're able to go back longer. This could be very bad. If 105 charges are true,
mm-hmm.
I don't know if 105 charges are true.
Probably not.
We know crap has happened.
Yeah.
But if 105 charges are true, I don't see how this ends in anything other than expulsion from the FA competition.
I was going to ask you what
now
degree.
Do I think that's what's going to happen? No, I'm thinking 15-point reduction next year by the time this is all over, and probably $10 million, maybe more.
I don't think we're going to ever see a team get exposed.
England's done it. England will put a team into administration, and England will expel a team for not having proper finances. England's never done it to a team this big.
If they want to really, and I mean really, really make an example, this is the team to do it against. I don't think...
that was also true when Chelsea did much the same things when Abramovich took over.
Well,
They went from a team that has won the league
investigation.
one time in the 50s.
Yeah.
Yes, they were on the up. They had made Champions League. They had made an FA Cup final the past couple of years. They were on the way up. But they went from that to winning the Premier League several times. I don't remember off the top of my head. The Champions League twice. In like a window this big.
Mm-hmm. Can't do that. Not
And the only thing that's stopping this is greed.
Mm-hmm.
If Sheikh Mansour said, I want to have 150 or 200 or 300 million dollars to spend on players, I'm going to give them the most lucrative sponsorship deal and just wait 3 years to build up against FFP, they would have an incredibly hard time defending, going after that. It would be very easy to defend. Well, we got the sponsorship. Yeah, I did. I got political ties to get the sponsorship. Of course I did. So does everyone. That's how business works. And then you get maybe a slap on the wrist, right? But no, because you went about it this way, now it's potentially dire.
But damn it,
I know they don't think anything's going to happen.
No, they wanted it now. Their eyes got too big for their stomachs. So now they're going to get this slapped on them.
And in a very real way, they're not used to being told no.
That's true.
I mean, look at what happened with Qatar. I think the worst thing FIFA did was, obviously the worst thing FIFA did was accept the Qatar bid for the 2022 World Cup. We know that. We agree with that. But it's almost like they got too greedy and they tried to get the golden goose to lay too many eggs at once. And all they had to do was just keep doing what they were doing, and everyone just said, well, that's business. But the second Qatar gets the World Cup, now everybody's turning over everything, saying, how messed up is this?
I think we could see the possibility of FIFA not allowing countries to own soccer clubs. I know it's not a country, but there's the possibility of that because of this reason.
I agree. Yeah, it could be a person of a certain standing, but then who buys clubs?
Rich people.
So, all right, you can't be in the political leadership. You can't be the prince of a kingdom. Not that there's that many of those running around. So it'd be very easy to say, well, that's discrimination. Because you clearly just don't want essentially Middle Easterns left, because that's the only place that they have that kind of political structure. Off the top of my head, I know the Philippines and other places have it. But you can't be a part of that structure. Or what? So what's the difference? Like, who decides what happens in America for the most part? Lobbyists done by billionaires that make sure that any law against them isn't too harsh, and it's back to, not to start this conversation again because I don't, but it's back to the whole salary cap thing. Okay, how do you do it? And now here's the other problem. What do they do to City? You can't relegate them. How is, not because they shouldn't be relegated, but because just screw everybody in the championship. All you're doing is taking one spot away from a team that's supposed to be promoted. Because City's going to get relegated, and City is going to be right back. So do you just suspend them for a year? That cripples them.
It does.
If you're going to suspend them for a year, just expel them from, put them back. Put them in League 5,
all the way in
the Nations League. Hey, guess what, Wrexham? You're not in the Premier League yet, but we're bringing the Premier League to you. Hollywood money doesn't have anything on oil money.
No, God, no. So did you read, out of the possible punishments, like I see here, there's
this
suspended
list, man. This fucking list.
I'm reading it from Sky Sports.
Oh, that's a list I saw. My favorite's how it ends.
Oh, the makes
no. Get to it at the end. Get to it at the end.
Okay. So they have, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Suspend a club from playing league matches. Number 1. Points deduction. Number 2. Number 3. Recommended to the board that league matches be replayed. That one blew me for a loop. I was like, "You're gonna make them replay again on top of
Yeah,
everything?"
just keep reading.
Order compensation. Cancel or refuse registration of players. I'm kind of on board for that one.
I can see it.
Conditional punishment. Order the club to pay costs. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really sure what that means entirely.
Well, what does conditional punishment mean?
Okay, fair enough.
Get to the last
there's
one.
a few of them that I'm like, what? None of these.
Get to the last one.
Make such other order as it thinks fit.
They can recommend any punishment they want. So the list is things that have happened in the past to other teams. But the last one is the one that matters.
Can we make it worse?
No, not even worse. Just what do you want? What's the punishment?
Harsher.
Here's the things that we normally punish people with. Point deductions. You can't sign players. You can't do these things. That's what we normally do. Mm-hmm. But the world's your oyster. I read all that, and then it started getting really random, and you can tell they wanted 10 things. Conditional punishments. Yes, the whole thing is conditional. What are we talking about?
I don't know. I think out of these ones, they're probably going to pay a fine. There's no way around that. 50 to 75 million. I'm thinking of that ballpark. And then they'll probably go to court and knock it down, blah, blah, blah. And it'll probably be around 35. I think a points deduction is probable. I don't think they'll send him down. I think they'll give him the largest any league has seen point reduction.
Do you know what that is?
No, not off the top of my head. Because that is something I didn't think of. I want to say 15 has been a number I've seen floated around, as a reduction. I think, who was it?
30.
30?
Luton Town, Milan, Fiorentina, Lazio, all had 30.
How long ago was that? Does it give you?
So the Lazio, Fiorentina, and Milan were that 05-06 match fixing thing that Serie A went through.
Mm.
And Luton Town was 08-09. Alongside that 10 from the football. So, by the way, 30?
Yeah.
30 points. It's 10 wins to get to 0.
To 0, yeah. And then they have to get another 10 more wins to kind of see themselves out of a relegation zone.
So 10 point deduction from the FA for irregular player transfers. I don't know anything about what happened. I'll just a blurb. And another 20 points by the Football League for failing to exit administration.
Okay, sure. So
administration is when a caretaker comes in because the finances are so upside down in the club that they can't stay above water. And not most, but a lot of clubs that go into administration eventually fail.
Okay. Yeah, that's so we could see. I don't know. I don't think we'll see a 30-point reduction. It'll probably be a 20.
I think so. This needs to be split up into two. The initial I expect to be big. 100, 200 million, 50-point deduction, or immediate relegation. I expect to see those things. After the appeal, I don't expect it to be that harsh at all. You get look at the number of allegations. Let's take off the tinfoil hat for a second and look at where the over 100 charges of You guys lied about where the money came from. You lied about how you got the money. You lied about how much money you were going to have. You lied about how you paid the guys with the money. And then you lied about breaking the rules of ours as well as UEFA's. And then you lied about what you did when we were investigating you. So that's like 6 different things that you've lied about. And you've done that in some combination of times, over 100 times in the last 10 years.
It ain't good. It ain't good.
I mean, it's a 10-year period, essentially. That is like, you don't get to be a team anymore if we live in a just world. We don't live in a just world. But I think that they're going to come out and try to hit them over the head with the book to try to gain some kind of respect back. Mm-hmm. And then when it goes to the appeals, who the hell knows? Because when UEFA said, hey, you don't get to be in the Champions League anymore, a lot of people thought, holy crap, they're not going to be in the Champions League anymore. And then the appeal happened, and yes, they are. Not winning it.
If you think about it, they only did 10 infractions a year. It's okay. It's minimal.
Yeah, okay. Okay. A little over 10. It's over 100.
Oh, sorry. My bad. So 11. Now,
and I'm not trying to say that Arsenal's perfect. The money we get for the Visit Rwanda thing is about the exact same money that England gives Rwanda in foreign aid. I mean, come on. That's a bit cheap. That's a bit messed up. You know, who doesn't have gambling or
I think it's like 30% of teams have.
You know, like Everton had Angry Birds as their shoulder sponsor, so they're the only ones who can get away with anything, I think.
And don't they have who's their sponsor this year?
Everton?
Yeah, it's not Kazoo.
I don't remember. It's just funny.
I'll find it. Yeah, because it's Stake. I think it's stake.com.
Oh,
so another gambling.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, Austin Villas has been gambling for as long as I can remember.
They have Kazoo now, so step off. That's a car company.
Kazoo? Oh,
it's a car company. They've had it for 2 years, too.
Barely.
Although, never mind. That's another thing for another time.
And this is not going to come into the sponsorship. But my point is, not everyone's free of bad sponsors. Not everyone's free of the money always coming from the perfect spot.
Right.
But you essentially have someone just pumping money into this for the sake of wanting to win. It's like paying for buffs in a video game. You know?
Oh, boy. That's a hell of a way to compare that to. Jesus. Yeah.
It's kind of what it is. Every season, hit that financial takeover button in FIFA.
Gotta love
that. All right, enough talking about money and bad people. Let's get into actual football.
Hell yeah.
And let's
screw these offenders.
Skip through this very quickly. Everton won 0-2 the Arsenal. Sean Dyche masterclass with Everton winning and looking slightly competent. These are your words.
Yep.
Who should be worried at the bottom now? My response to that is, you think that was slightly competent?
I thought they played well in a compact sense.
I think it was beyond competent. And I'm not trying to say Arsenal's the best team in the world. They stopped Arsenal, so they're the best. Like, no, but the way they played, they had the perfect amount of physicality. They had the perfect amount of speed. Here's what I don't understand. And I was talking with all the Albany Gooners in the WhatsApp because I wasn't able to make the beer garden this week. And we were all like, don't worry about it, guys. They're playing up for Dyche, but they haven't been playing at this tempo all season. They managed it. They never once let Arsenal get comfortable. There was a lot of physicality. There was a lot of shirt pulling. There was a lot of pushing guys out of the way. They did not have like 15 yellow cards. You know, they played the match as physical as a referee let them play it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was fantastic. I don't know how Dyche did this in a week. And the underlying numbers prove it.
No, Yeah, I mean they did have a better XG. Their shots were less, but
4 big chances created. They allowed Arsenal this many.
Mm-hmm.
0 for the listeners. I mean, it was not a flawless. It's not a flawless match by Everton. Neil Maupay was. I thought he was a liability, and he definitely should have been carded long before he ended up getting carded for the Zinchenko thing.
Yeah.
Both him and Zinchenko getting yellows for that at the end is dumb. He grabbed him and fell over. That bothered me. But to be fair to Everton, that was the only time that an Everton player did something that made me go, "What the hell? You can't do that." Every other time it was annoying. It was physical, but it wasn't like, "Oh no, they're cheating." That was the only time where I was like, "Dude, you can't do that." They didn't even get a yellow until the 63rd minute. The Tarkowski goal, he just pushed Odegaard out of the way.
Yeah, that was
He straight pushed
he
him.
wanted it more than Odie did, and really
Odegaard's got to, if he's going to get pushed back that far, he's got to fall down and hope you get the call.
Yes.
He was bumping you back, man. You had nothing.
No, there was.
And also, it's not a foul.
No, of course not. You have the right to play the ball.
And if I remember correctly, this is the first or second time that Arsenal has given up a goal off a corner all season.
That's just really unfortunate.
Well,
that it happened to be Everton.
It's the Dyche. He did that. That's his play. They used to do that at Burnley, and this is actually a little bit of trivia. Tarkowski was the last Burnley player to score a goal when Dyche was the manager.
That's funny.
And now he's the first one to score one for Everton.
He had, let's see, Tarkowski was an ex-player. He's got Dwight McNeil as an ex-player. I thought there was another player he had in his regime, but I am wrong. It's just those two guys. So at least he had some sort of it's not, I can't think of the word.
He had a good
familiarity. There was a couple familiarity players in there.
I thought Pickford didn't do much because he didn't have to.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting a good rating, and everyone's going to look to the goalie when the goalie gets a clean sheet against a team like Arsenal. He didn't have to do anything.
No, it was really their midfield that crushed it. I mean, they threw what FotMob has up as a 5, and I would believe it because
it was a 3-5-1. In fact, there was a 4-5-1.
Yeah,
and there was a lot of times I would have called it like a 4-6.
Like they made it really hard to pass, and that's why you saw Arsenal try to push it out wide every time to break it down with their crosses. But you have Connor Cody, who's a good aerial threat. You have Tarkowski, who's a good aerial defender as well. So really, it just made it hard. They just made it hard for Arsenal to operate through the center of the pitch.
This is another one of those. People like to say any given Sunday. And if we have non-American listeners, that's very much an American term. There was even a American football movie, made called Any Given Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is on any given Sunday, any team can beat any other team. These guys are all professionals, are all Premier League players. This is the perfect example of Any Given Sunday. And I love it. I mean, I hate it because Arsenal could be, 8 points clear with a game in hand, potentially 11 points clear, and we're not. And it was Everton, and they're the bottom of the table, and we haven't won at Goodison Park in like 5 years, and it's driving me crazy. No, it was 4 straight.
I just saw in The Athletic.
It was 4 straight. We hadn't won in 4 straight years. 4 straight away trips. We haven't won at Goodison. This makes it 5.
Okay. You're the Arsenal man.
But I love this example of Any Given Sunday because Everton just outplayed. Everton could have beaten pretty much anyone the way they played. It wasn't just They played super defensively and they got lucky on a corner. They had 4 big chances. That was that was crazy.
Oh, Dominic Calvert-Lewin actually had a pretty decent day. He looked actually somewhat himself for a change.
He did. He looked crazy.
Yeah, so obviously it's got to be Lampard's fault here.
Yeah, I mean,
look at what it was a week.
It is a new manager bounce. But for it to be this much of a new manager bounce,
right? Yeah, no, it's a you, not me situation, not us and him.
Yep. I 100% agree. That was.
There's still improvements that they need to have across the board for Everton, but this was a really good step for them to show that there's still something in the tank.
Yeah. No, I think it was a great first step, and I think after it was exactly what you need. 3 points against anybody is going to be big. 3 points against the league leaders. Now you got people believing. You got people buying in. People who thought, whatever, we're going down anyway. Who's this Dyche guy anyway? Oh, isn't he the old Burnley guy? Isn't Burnley in the championship now? Like, they can immediately go, okay, we're still going to win. We got worse in the transfer window, and okay, we're still winning. I don't think that this is going to placate the fans one bit. I think they still want the board gone.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, if I was a fan, I would want to get those guys out.
All right. Let's move on to the next.
Yes.
Wolves 3-0 Liverpool.
Buns had been slapped.
I don't even know.
I watched this game, and it was the saddest game I've ever watched Liverpool put up. I understand the first goal was a own goal, and by some rights, Trent probably should have been a little bit more alert to the fact that he should have committed to the ball instead of letting it roll as far as it did and hit the post.
I really don't think that's Trent's fault.
I disagree.
I think it's Gomez's and Matip's fault. I really don't think it's Trent's fault.
Look, the guy come on.
That was after it already happened. It had bounced weirdly off Matip's inside shin. Gomez and Matip coming together and going, oh, you have the ball. Oh, no, you have the ball. Oh, no, you have the ball. No, what are we doing?
I still think Trent should have committed to it.
Hey, Trent could have done better. But if we're assigning blame, Gomez gets 45 and Matip gets 45 and Trent gets 10. It looks bad because he was the last man there.
Well, yeah.
But the whole Gomez-Matip thing, we're just, oh, no, I don't know what to do. But we can argue over who's the blame. This is the only word I have for Liverpool is apathetic. They look like they did not care.
Yeah.
No, not even bland like, oh, man, I'm spice, but I'm dull. Like, oh, man, I don't care. I put on pads today.
I'm getting paid my weekly wage.
And I don't think that they're the kind of people who do that.
I would hope
we know they're not, but that's what they look like. They look like they had already lost. They had no link-up play in the offensive half. No. Everyone, if they got the ball on their feet, they shot. It was one time in the 50th minute when it fell to, I don't remember who it fell to.
Darwin Nunez, wasn't it?
No, Nunez had a couple decent chances. Nunez never passed the ball. I forget who had the very close shot in the 50th minute, but it was a very.
It was Mo Salah, I think. I think Salah.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't one of the 4. No, I'm not talking about the curler. I'm talking about actual link-up play, not chances. Actual link-up play, like Liverpool, used to do, like Man City and Arsenal, and now Man United do. The point isn't who it was. The point is that it happened exactly one time. And even then, I think it was down to, lack of defending by Wolves as much as it was down to Liverpool actually doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it looked really, really bad. Everything they did looked really bad. They were completely flat-footed defending for the second. Yes. The only defender who did anything was Cody Gakpo, who is not a defender. And he's like, it came off of him, but he's the only one who tried to close the ball down. And it's not even just closing the ball down. You're taught as a defender, you move up when that happens to try to catch, to get bigger in front of the ball, to take away angles at the goal, and to try to catch someone off sides if that works. Nobody moved. Everybody stood and watched. The only guy who moved forward was Gakpo. That's bad.
Man, this team, I don't know what to think about this team anymore. And I'm sure fans don't either. I don't even have a comparable. It's like Chelsea, but worse. Because it's kind of coming down to I don't want to say it's cultural at this, but something's wrong. And it might be the fact that they're burnt out.
I think that's exactly what it is. Tifo came out with a video on this. And it was, oh my God, I forget his name. I could see him. It wasn't JJ. It's the bald dude with the glasses.
God. Yeah, so me.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Well, I remember in the video they called him the Goblin King, and I don't know why. Like they gave his name as James something, I think, but they called him the Goblin King. That was funny. But anyway, he's talking about how the problem is Liverpool's pressing.
Yeah.
They're not pressing at the right time. He went into the whole gegenpressing thing and how Klopp had to move away from gegenpressing in the Premier League and found his own style of pressing, and now the pressing is not working. Mm-hmm. Klopp had a quote that was used in the video, and that's why I brought up the video because I want to use the quote. Mm-hmm. We have a really brave way of defending, usually, and when the timing in our defending is not perfect, then we leave the gap open. That is always the case, by the way, but because of the pressure we made on the boy on the ball, which tripped me up, but that's how he said it. Mm-hmm. On the boy on the ball, nobody really recognized it because we closed it with intensity. So wrong. Again, you can say that the issue is that the pressing isn't working. The issue is not that the pressing isn't working. One of the symptoms, one of the big symptoms, and the symptom that shows itself in the stat sheet the most, especially in advanced stats, the Opta analyst guys, is that the pressing isn't working. But the pressing isn't working because there's no intensity in this team. If the last 7 years have been heavy metal football, this year has been elevator music. It really, everyone was just, there's no, and I mean, they're still a Premier League side, don't get me wrong. They're still quick, still run circles around any MLS team. Mm-hmm. But in the Premier League, when you got to be that quick, they're being that quick. And it's just, it's not there.
They're going to have to go in the summertime and buy some players that fit that role. So also in that Tifo video, is there 19 games in, more, less?
More.
Either way, they've gone almost 41 direct times to goal. Whereas in prior seasons, they've gone mid-50s. So if we're continuing through, double it, they're 82. That's 30 more times than they've gone direct. This isn't the style of play this team plays, unless that's how Pep is utilizing his strikers at this point.
Klopp, but yeah.
Klopp. Sorry, almost wrong. I'm hoping to see that same style that Liverpool have been so known for. But, boy, I don't know. They're going to have to do some shopping in the summer in order to fix that, or else we're going to see more direct play. And it's going to be more boring.
Well, this is also – you said Pep on accident, but it's a good point. Pep always rotates players out. Mm-hmm. Even when they're fan favorites and you think you can get more out of them, he's like, no, we're done. We gotta get new guys, always new guys. Very few people stay with him for a long time. And I wonder if Klopp was just a little bit too romantic about some of his players, sentimental about some of his players, and that's why it's a 7-year thing with him. It has nothing to do with lack of intensity. It just has to do with complacency. And I know when people say they wanted it more, it drives me crazy. Because most of the time it's like you walked in the room, you saw one team beat another team, you said they wanted it more, and then you walked out like you knew anything about any of the teams. That doesn't mean that's necessarily wrong. And if you have any little bit of complacency,
you're gonna get eaten alive.
Especially in this league. I mean, look at Arsenal. I think right now, and I can say this now, the best thing that happened to Arsenal was getting knocked out of the top 4 in the last, couple match weeks of the season.
Okay.
Because we have essentially the same squad, a year older, a year wiser, and now pissed off.
Driven. Yeah.
It's hard to do it again and again and again and again and again. And after Liverpool won the 2019-2020 season, to get them back up to the levels that they needed to be at, they had to go for the quad. We're going to win everything, baby. And, they almost did it.
Yeah, right. God.
And then they didn't. And, that's it's not even the physical. These guys have the best doctors and the best regimen and don't have to lift a finger apart from kicking a soccer ball. But the mental do it again and again and again and again. Not everyone's Tom Brady.
Nope.
I know that you're asking the question. Oh. I mean, I agree. Naby Keita needs to go, mostly because of injuries.
Yeah.
Didn't bring this up. You know who I think that we can agree on who screwed up big time? That third goal, that was Thiago's fault.
Yeah.
That was 100% Thiago's fault.
Oh, it was so brutal. He hung on to the ball too long, and he just got tackled in the midfield.
No, not even then. Nunez was his guy. He was the guy in the middle of the field. He got caught ball watching like he was playing high school soccer. And Nunez made a run in behind him, and by the time Thiago even realized what was happening, all he could do was watch. He switched off, got lazy, did not pay attention. 100% his fault.
Yep.
So Thiago, Keita, You're asking, is a Klopp firing? You spelled it Kloop.
I changed it twice, and it came up as Kloop again. I swear to God.
But is a Klopp firing the way to go? Well, my answer is no. Who are you going to get?
Well, I put out the possibility of Poch, Luis Enrique, Tom Tuchel. I almost forgot who I put ZZ here. It's Zinedine Zidane. And for a good fun giggle, Stevie G. He was groomed.
You can't come home again. Maybe Tuchel. They could go get Tuchel if they want. I do not think Tuchel's going to be the answer with this team. I don't think Zidane goes to a 10th place team even if they are Liverpool.
Nah.
I think Zidane coaches for Real and the French national team and nobody else.
What if Pep leaves?
What if Pep leaves and
Yeah, okay.
How does the rest of this investigation go?
Yeah, okay. I mean,
because Man City looks like the golden goose right now, but if they're not going to be able to buy anyone for 4 years, they don't exactly have the strongest youth policy.
No, they have a ton of youth players. They could live. I think they'd be able to live. Although half of Southampton's team are Man City, and that's working out real well for them.
I don't know what Luis Enrique does.
He probably
maybe, and then Poch. I don't know what Poch wants. I don't think anyone knows what Poch wants.
I don't think Poch knows what he wants.
Poch's turned down like everything. I think Poch wants the Argentina job.
Good for him, but he's not getting it.
Not right now.
No.
All right, so Liverpool lost. Not necessarily a surprise anymore, which is sad to say. I mean, not really sad.
They're vulnerable.
Arsenal lost. You know who else lost?
Who else?
Twice.
Ooh.
Once in the courts, once on the field. Man City.
Yipes.
The Tottenham Hotspur curse continues for Man City.
Mm-hmm.
They have not scored in that stadium.
Oof. I didn't know that was
They have not scored. They're
Oh.
they won. It was like 2-0, 2-0, 1-0, 2-0, 1-0.
That's stinky.
Yeah, that's bad. I mean, I don't love it because it's Spurs, but
Yeah,
I'll take it. Holland had exactly no shots on goal.
That's about as many as I did.
You know, everyone was talking about. We got a little bit of flack with the whole you talking about has Holland been found out thing, and I was not on board with that. I'm starting to get a little on board with that. Kane sets the scoring record for Spurs. I only have one problem with this.
It's Harry Kane and the Spurs.
No, it should have been a bullshit penalty. That's the Harry Kane way.
Yeah. Well, it was still a well-worked goal. It was more of those.
Oh yeah, no, it was a well-worked goal. He deserves it, and he deserves a record. We can make all the jokes we want. You know, Harry Kane has had 200 meaningless goals for Spurs, but it's incredibly impressive what he's done.
Yeah,
and I don't think he's going to leave the Premier League.
No.
And Spurs say they won't sell him to a rival. And at this point, look out, Alan Shearer.
Probably.
I really think that's where we're at. I don't see any reason for him to slow down.
I'd like to see that. Just as like a fan of the Premier League, I'd like to see that. As a person who doesn't really particularly care for Tottenham, but to see it in our lifetime, I think that's what I'm trying to get at. That's what's the fun part about this.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say I'd like to see it, but I wouldn't say I would hate to see it. I think it's deserving.
Yes.
You know, and it's one of those. At this point, they get so many penalties. It's the way he plays, and he does it like that's being good. That's what you want. He gets goals. They don't ask how, they ask how many, and he gets to say 200. So
one every match.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Seriously, good for him. City, on the other hand,
not so good.
You said that City looked like they've been handed a Ferrari and they have no idea how to drive it. But they knew how to drive it.
I don't think that's entirely true.
I think, it's kind of hard when he scored more goals than anyone did last season before the halfway point of this season to say that they didn't utilize him in the first half of the season.
I think there is a way to unlock a better version of Haaland that they're not seeing. And this is coming from T-Foil as well. And I think this one actually might be JJ Bull. But he was saying that Man City are stuck between two mindsets right now. And that they want to play as old Man City, swinging around, look for opening passes, when Haaland's actually making those direct runs and they could hit that on the fly instead of making that pass out to the wide, like out to Mahrez or out to Grealish or Foden, whoever's playing out wide in that particular position. So it's the problem of play style right now. They're just caught in between two mindsets.
I agree with that. I mean, one of the hardest things is ability to change with the times.
Yeah.
Pep never really had that issue because by the time it was time to change, he would change teams. It was tiki-taka in Barcelona. It was complete possession domination in Bayern. And then it was this high-pressing, high-rate passing attack in Man City.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like gone back to, tons of through balls. And he's not seeing that. I have a really hard time imagining that he's not seeing it. And I also have a really hard time imagining that it's due to stubbornness.
I don't think that Pep doesn't see it. I'm thinking the players are the ones that aren't seeing it because for
Do you think that's why
5
KDB
years,
didn't start?
I think KDB didn't start because it was a quick turnaround game. Because didn't they play over the weekend too? I mean midweek, excuse me. I could be wrong. I could be also very, very wrong.
No, they hadn't played since Arsenal.
Maybe
27th.
KDB is, I don't know, maybe. I also said that honestly, Julian Alvarez, if they still want to continue this old system that they have, looks better in the old system than Haaland does. Because he's
definitely more that player.
Julian will find the pockets of space and set up for linkage of plays and look for the overloads, where Haaland is that kind, the guy who looks to go more direct.
So now here's a thought.
Thought me.
You cannot say that Haaland hasn't been amazing so far this season.
Of course not.
So now Haaland stops scoring goals.
Yes, he does. Yes, he has.
Again, I am still not saying Tottenham Hotspur has beaten them at home every year for 5 years. Right? So I'm still not willing to say that they're having a down year. I know everyone's saying they're having a down year. Yes, it's not necessarily the total utter dominance that they used to have, but there's been a lot of better teams. Newcastle, Man United, Arsenal, all playing well above where they're normally playing.
The top
so
is heavy.
I'm still not willing to say that City got worse. So Haaland comes in, starts scoring a crap ton of goals, but it's not sustainable. Eventually, they're going to figure out how to play him.
Yeah.
He is, I don't know. What is this little robot? How old is he? 22?
Yeah, something like that.
He's gone from Molde in 2018 to Salzburg to Dortmund to Man City.
Yep.
Just running through teams, scoring in the Champions League. He comes in. He's on pace to break every record for goal scoring there is.
Yep.
But it's not sustainable. No, this is pie in the sky. I'm not saying this is what's happening. I'm saying this could be how Pep sees it. It's not sustainable, and he needs to start playing more as a member of the team in a more dynamic way, and he's not.
Okay.
No, you can't sit this guy.
Of course not.
This guy just scored 22 goals in like 14 games. But you can't just keep dumping the ball to him because it's not working anymore. You started talking about this. It's not working anymore.
Yeah.
They had a real tough time against Everton. They lost to United. Haaland looked lost against Arsenal. Yeah, they won that match, but Haaland didn't do anything. And now Haaland looks not even getting a shot on goal against Spurs. And everyone's saying City's not utilizing Haaland. Maybe Haaland needs to start playing more in Pep's way to get the most out of him. I'm just saying we're going to go with the guy who scored 22 goals, and I understand that. We're not going to go with the guy who just won 4 out of 5 Premier Leagues and won 3 straight Champions Leagues with Bayern, or 3 straight Bundesligas with Bayern, and how many Champions Leagues? The guy's never finished lower than 3rd in any team he's ever managed. And we're just immediately going to go, yeah, but, the 22-year-old scored a bunch of goals. So, obviously, they're not utilizing him. It's not the fact, obviously it's the guy who's won absolutely everything who's screwing up, not the player.
I get where you're coming from. You're right. Maybe he should be more flexible and maybe a little less selfish. But don't you think that City had looked at his film and had noticed that he plays this particular way, this more direct sense of style.
I absolutely agree, but here's the problem. Managers do not buy players anymore. Technical directors do. And technical directors do what the owners tell them to do. So they said, that's the biggest guy in the world. I want him in Manchester City blue. Make it happen. I don't care who you have to sell. Who's this Ukrainian guy? Zinchenko? I don't know his name. Get him out of here. Doesn't matter if he's the best clubhouse guy in the world and is one of the best players on the best team in England right now. It doesn't matter. Get him out of here. I want the weird robot with the bright pink lips in Manchester City blue because he scores a lot of goals, damn it. And yeah, they're going to ask Pep. And Pep's going to say, no, I don't want the guy who scores all the goals in the Champions League. You know, managers don't buy players. This isn't the Arsene Wenger and Alex Ferguson days anymore. Sorry, Sir Alex Ferguson days anymore, where they built their own teams based on however they wanted with their finances. It doesn't work that way.
I still think there's certain coaches out there, managers out there who are involved with looking at film and saying, yeah, this guy can fit, this guy.
They're involved.
And Pep's one of those guys.
But
there's no way
involved doesn't mean decision maker. And you know what they say to him? Don't worry about it, Pep. He's a young kid. You're the greatest manager in the world. He'll do what you say.
And you know what? That might be the truest statement.
Maybe Pep did want him. Maybe Pep thought, oh, man, I could turn this guy into a goal scorer.
Which is
a true, he could be the best player in the world. He could be the next Ronaldo.
Yep. Well, there's still a possibility for that.
There still is. There absolutely still is. I'm not saying, guys, we are not saying on this podcast that Haaland is now bad.
Oh, God.
And that's not the point I'm trying to make.
God, he's a special.
The point I'm trying to make is everyone's saying Haaland scored a bunch of goals and now he's not, and it's Pep's fault. And it's just I don't know, man. I don't know if I see that.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But now they're slumping. We'll see if Haaland starts to bite.
Yeah, let's see who plays differently. Does Haaland get sat? Right now.
I think there'll be a formation change before Haaland will be set.
Right now, with the way things are going, if you want to talk about winning a soccer match that you absolutely have to win, do you not put Haaland on the bench and bring him in the 60th minute and start with, Alvarez up top and then KDB, Grealish, and Mahrez behind him? Mahrez, he's been amazing. You still don't think that doesn't happen?
No, I wouldn't actually do that. I would have it a 4-4-2 and start both Haaland and Julian Alvarez. Excuse me. Slurring my words. Now I am drunk.
All right, so who gets left out? Between Silva, Rodri, Mahrez, Grealish, and KDB, who gets left out? Because against Spurs, it was KDB.
You see, you have to keep Rodri for his height and his physicality. I think really Grealish might be the odd one out for me. No homerism on that because he left.
No, I'd say that's not what I thought you'd go. I think it has to be Grealish too, and not because Grealish isn't a good player, but because you need Rodri and Silva for the defensive side of things.
Yeah.
All right. We were getting late in the podcast. I knew the Man City thing was going to take up a lot, so we want to go to our new
hot topic
favorite segment, True False.
Hell yeah.
We are going to do statements to each other, and the person receiving the statement has to say true or false and then defend their stance. Would you like to go first?
Yes, I would. True or false? Will Southampton fire their second coach this season?
False.
Ooh, spicy. Hit me.
I don't know. Again, for the same reason why Leeds should not have fired Jesse Marsch. If you're going to fire Jesse Marsch, fire him during the World Cup break. And now you can go get guys. Who do you get?
I don't know, but they went into the championship and decided to hire somebody from Hull. Is he from Hull?
I don't
Luton?
remember who
I think it
he's
was
from.
Luton. Either way, they made a move that will set them back, and they hired a coach for the championship because they're going to be in the championship.
And I understand you've been saying that, and I agree. Here's my thing with Southampton. Southampton are realists. Right now, in 2023. Southampton have more wins than Leeds, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, and Liverpool. It's one more win, so I guess it's not wins. They have one win, while those teams haven't won any. But you look at this. Villa, 1-0 loss. Newcastle, 1-0 loss. 2-1 win against Blackpool. They lost to Newcastle in the EFL Cup semifinal.
Yeah.
And then 3-0 loss to Brentford. With the team you have, are any of those results surprising?
No.
I don't know what firing the coach is going to do. Your problem is not the coach. Your problem is the players.
Well, they probably shouldn't have hired Man City Academy.
All right, here we go for the next one.
Lay it on me.
Continuing on with the conversation we were just having.
Sweet.
Haaland will score less than 10 goals for the second half of the season.
Oh, God, that's so false. I just think there's too many things that Haaland can do. What can Haaland do for you? It's more like, what can't Haaland do for you? No, I'm assuming you're just talking about the Premier League in general, not overall tournaments.
Oh, yeah, no, I meant the Premier League.
Okay, he's still going to score more than 10.
He's got to start shooting.
Well,
anyway, hit me with your next one.
Man United are the second best team in the league.
For the next 3 matches, it is false. When they have Casemiro, I think right now it's true.
Yeah.
At least on form. On paper, I don't think so yet.
Yeah.
Antony has been just dire.
He's been pretty rough.
But the research, Fred's been playing a lot better. I am not a McFred fan. I have made that perfectly clear.
Nope.
Fred's been playing a lot better.
Yep.
Bruno Fernandes is always talented. He's finally channeling it the way it's supposed to be. I still have questions of defense. And when Casemiro's not there, it falls apart.
Yeah.
But when Man United can put out their prime 11 right now, I think it's false for the next 3 games when Casemiro's out, but true until City really start showing me something, yeah.
Okay. Nice.
All right. Keylor Navas is the best signing of the January window.
Oh, man.
I don't mean best player. I mean for value added to team.
True. He just did a shutout. He just had a shutout against Bournemouth.
You got a guy fired. Let's be real.
Oh, yeah, it was Leeds. That's even worse. Yeah. I was very high on the fact that they were able to button this signing in, even though it's a loan and there's no buy clause in this. This was a very good signing, I think.
It's Dean Henderson coverage.
It's not.
And when that's your coverage, amazing.
And I actually think he's going to be surpassing Dean Henderson.
Well,
he's better than Dean Henderson.
No, he is, but that's my point. They oh, hey, you want to take Henderson? Okay, cool. Here's Navas. We're fine.
Yeah.
Leeds had 70% possession, had 0.5 more expected goals, 10 shots, a big chance, 300 exactly more passes. Forrest gets a 1-0 win. That's what a good goalie can do.
Yep.
For me, I was getting ready to fight you if you said no. I said, you guys are kidding me.
I was over okay. It was the thought of Enzo Fernandez, who I thought also had a very good debut. But for the cost of Enzo Fernandez, it's like and then it's Kyler Navas,
and then diminishing value, diminishing returns.
Right.
You're the $120 million player for a team that already has an $80 million player that already had a. Mm-hmm. You're not going to change it as much as Kyler Navas can just change everything for a Forest.
Yeah.
Who also have 30 signings, but none of them have been Kyler Navas good. All right, hit me with your last one.
So staying in the Forest, Forest find themselves in the top 10 at the end of the year.
False. If you had said top 15, it would have been true as easy as anything. The problem is all right, teams that could possibly fall out of the top 10. And I mean possible with a capital P, I don't even think it's going to happen. Brighton, Brentford, Fulham, Chelsea, Liverpool, Aston Villa. Aston Villa's not in the top 10. They're 11. So the top 10 are Liverpool up from what I just said. That's not getting into the top 4 or 5, which isn't going to happen. Forest is not better than 2 of those teams.
Okay, that's fair.
And then they also have to jump Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace also has been dire as of late.
Yep.
But they could do that. But now they have to be better than Villa. They have to be much better than Fulham. I mean, they're 8 points behind Fulham. They got to make up 8 points on Fulham.
And they're 6 points behind Chelsea, 5 points behind Liverpool. But do they have a game in hand? No.
Here's the question you should have asked.
Yeah.
Forest finish above Liverpool.
Ooh, that would have been spicy.
That's a fun question. But we're not doing that one.
Come on. It's already been fine.
We're going on to my last one. Because it's we're over hour and 10 minutes almost into this.
People are leaving.
Here's my last one. Leeds have guaranteed themselves relegation with the firing of Jesse Marsch.
God, do I want to say true so hard, but I'm going to say they're going to finish exactly where they're at right now at the end of the season. So, false.
Who finishes below them?
What you see right now?
You really think that what Sean Dyche just showed Everton can do, they're still going to be down there?
Yes.
All right. Here's why I think the answer is true.
Because they don't have a coach
anymore? Yes. They're level on points with Everton. And I think that Dyche is going to get that Everton side higher than what a Leeds side can be. So now Leeds has to finish above West Ham, who just got a big point against, I think, Newcastle. And Wolves, who just drubbed up Liverpool. Now, I get it's Liverpool, but still. Again, I will say, and this is the problem with right now, this is the problem with the January window, and this is the problem with firing a coach after the January window closes. Who you gonna get? Who's gonna come in and save Leeds?
Big Sam.
Because the guy that you want just went to Everton.
Yep.
So who are you gonna do it? You are now too late. You are a day late and $1 short, and you are gonna go down.
Big Sam.
That's my thinking. Big Sam could do it. If anyone could do it, Big Sam can do it. Big Sam and Sean Dyche meet at the last game of the season, and the loser gets relegated. I think
that would be the most
explodes or something.
The colossal fight of the year.
Oh God, that would be hilarious. Who do they play at the end of the season?
Who you look? Yeah,
what was Leeds' last fixture? It's Tottenham.
Boo. Actually, Everton and Leeds play February 18th.
18th, yeah. The Sam Allardyce, Sean Dyche. 2 men enter, 1 man can leave. They'll come out like some Cronenberg monster every show.
Oh my God! Ooh.
All right. There's plenty more to talk about, but we're an hour and 10 minutes in, so I think we're going to call it there.
Yes.
All right. This has been Swinging at Shins, a Premier League podcast. We are under the umbrella of Wicked Good Sports, so if you listen this far, thank you. And if you like what we have to say, and if you listen this far, you probably do, please check out the other wonderful shows that Wicked Good Sports has to offer. That guy does the Villa, which is all about Villa.
Yes, sir.
I do the Way West Ham, which is all about Arsenal.
Yes, he does.
Then we have Chris, who does Power Play for the Bruins. Jack does both Bayou Breakdown. I was going to say At the Bayou, but that wasn't it. Bayou Breakdown and At the Buzzer, which is about the Saints and the Celtics. Ryan also helps out without the buzzer. Brian does Miami Minute. We got a lot of sports covered. I do Around the Diamond with the Red Sox sometimes when the schedule allows. Summer is always busier for me. So if you like what we have to say, if you like this kind of format, please check them out. They're the papa business to our tiny business.
We appreciate
if you're looking
stuff.
for more of our content, we are on Instagram, we are on TikTok, we are on Facebook. Post an awful lot on Instagram, post a decent amount on TikTok while it's still legal. Facebook exists.
Yeah,
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah,
links for everything I described is in the description below. Please subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, all those wonderful things. Aaron, thanks for talking soccer with me.
I have a wonderful time with you, Rhett. Thank you.
It's always fun. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for listening. Links for anything that you could be interested in, whether it's the YouTube channel, our podcast links, our social media links, everything's in the description below. Thank you very much for listening.